broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
What is this?
This is our special guest. This is his music selection. I'm feeling it. Hey, AfterBuzz fans, we are here for MTV's Eye Candy Season 1, Episode 5. I'm your host, Courtney Tezeno, joined with my lovely co-host,
Kristen Snyder. Hey guys, what's up? You can tweet me right now during the show at Cinematic Escape.
And you guys can tweet me at TezNose. Follow me on Instagram. We want you, before we get into the recap, we want you to follow us on AfterBuzz TV on Twitter. Go to our YouTube, give us 5 stars, AfterBuzz TV, and leave your comments because we have some special comments we're going to read tonight. So next week, we may read the ones you put tonight. And guys, use the hashtag ABTVEyeCandy. We just want to stay connected, keep the conversation going. So, done with my ramble. We have a special guest with us today. You may know him as by a couple of names, Insomniac, Connor. We are joined by special guest John Garet. Hey.
Hello. Thank
How are you feeling?
Hey, I'm feeling quite good. I have my 2 cups. I think that I'm set.
Yeah,
Water,
I mean,
Sprite.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
you did have a special tea in tonight's episode.
Special.
It was like tea from Sophia.
Oh, yeah,
There was
yeah,
a
she hooked
special
me up.
ingredient.
Yeah.
What was the special ingredient?
Whiskey?
I think it might have been whiskey.
Chaser.
Whiskey
I think that was
chaser,
it, yeah.
So is that what you're drinking now?
Well, yeah, whatever it takes, really.
To get loose in here.
Exactly.
Okay, so we saw a lot of things this episode. Every week it's a big of a thriller, but this week we had kind of 2 possible killers, 2 psychopaths. That was absolutely crazy. This week we're introduced to Bubonic, and how do we feel about the anniversary of this killer?
I loved that he was coming into this because I feel like he's going to help Lindy going forward. I mean, if he's this powerful and he could do pretty much everything that we've seen the killer do in past episodes, I feel like we should really get him on Lindy's team. Like, why is the cyber unit not recruiting him? What did you think?
Right. Well, I thought it was interesting that, at the end you get the sense that he's not really aligned with anyone yet. So, there's definitely room for an alliance there, which is cool. And also that there's a new kind of player in the mix now that we get to be wary of.
This episode was kind of jumbled for me. It was so hard for me to figure out what the killer's doing, what Bubonic is doing. I mean, was it confusing to you at all when taping?
A bit, like the bubonic stuff I wasn't really exposed to. Partly because we obviously we don't have any scenes together, but also I think so much of my scenes were consumed with Oliver things. So.
Yeah, and we see Oliver is with either the killer or Bubonic. We don't know yet.
Yes, yeah.
So for everyone listening, let's introduce Oliver. Oliver is Connor's blind date, first date. We were saying metaphorically.
Flirtual date.
Yeah, his flirtual date. And we see in the beginning of this episode that it's a horrible first date.
Right.
Yeah. Have you been on in real life a worse date than this one tonight?
Maybe, probably not. Maybe emotionally. Maybe self-confidence wise afterwards. But in terms of a tongue being on a table, no, that's about as bad as it gets. I would hope for everyone.
And then even it being a dark room like that, who wants to do something like that?
That was awesome. I loved it. Transparency restaurant where all the staff is blind and you can't see. I like the idea. I like the risks they take in this show. Earlier, a few episodes ago, we had a club where you walk in through a flower shop. It's
I think that's IRL. Yeah.
Okay, that must be the front of IRL. We just don't get it every episode, so I wasn't sure. And then we get this transparency restaurant. And I feel like a lot of New York restaurants do that, not as much in LA.
Yeah, maybe not. I'd heard of it. I thought it was kind of an interesting way for Connor the first time we see Connor dating is that he would choose a restaurant like that, given the circumstances that there is a killer out there. Yeah. It's a little bold, in my opinion. But I thought it was a neat way to begin his love life was in darkness and then with kind of catastrophe striking.
I feel like
I disagree. I think that
it's a bad idea.
No, that was a really bad idea. I'm all for, like, all right, the listening skills, seeing if he's really into you. But, like, there's a certain amount of, like, you know, physical attraction on your first date. You kind of want to feel the person out, see if there's like some flaws that you're like not feeling.
Right. Well, theoretically, a lot of the physical stuff was handled on Flirtual, right? Like we saw pictures.
You're attracted to each other.
There's some exposure already. Obviously, I think the world would agree that it was maybe not the best idea.
Maybe considering the time.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, I would totally do that if there wasn't a killer on the loose.
Yeah,
right.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, I was honestly suspecting you as the killer before this episode, and now this episode kind of puts you, in my opinion, out of the runnings, because why would you kidnap your date and then go looking for him? So in my mind, and you were in the bathroom when the date was sitting across from him, so I don't think, and Oliver said he was sensing that smell, so he would know, I feel like, if it was you.
He's like, I smell it, and it's you.
Yeah.
So I think we've eliminated you as the killer.
Cool.
But before now, we hadn't.
But you're giving me this look, though. Wait, we can't. For everyone listening, he gave this really creepy look. Like, are you sure it's not me? So
I'm glad. I'm out of the hot seat. I do think that. I think everyone should be careful about taking anyone out of the mix.
Yeah.
Because each episode, I think, brings new things to light that in some way play a part in what we've already seen. But yes, no, I'm good. I'm not the killer.
Wait, so you can confirm that.
Of course I can confirm that.
Oh yeah.
I can confirm that it makes me feel good that you think that, but beyond that, no.
Okay.
You
know, every time someone comes on, I'm like, I know you're the killer, and then I'm wrong because Tommy's clearly not the killer. He's like messed up this episode.
A lot of people still think Tommy's the killer, though.
Well, yeah. I the only reason I felt like I still want him to be the killer. I don't know if he is, but like I want him to be this messed up, I'm in love with Lindy, but I want to kill people kind of guy. And after seeing his music video, I mean, have you seen that? It could totally be.
That is so funny. You know, I had only seen little like bits of the music video on Casey's Instagram, and then the other day I was like, it's time. Like it's time
to watch it.
Time to get real, and I watched it. It was quite interesting to watch. It was very capturing, if is the word. It was intense.
And he does the Joker impression quite well.
Yeah, you know, he like pulled that out early when we were shooting, and there's something in me that maybe it's because he does it so well that like I'm not ready for him to be doing it. So he always he's like, you know where I got the, and I'm like, no, please, no. It's like it's a good impression, but it doesn't take me anywhere.
Aww.
Yeah, no, I don't mean to shut him down. It is really good. But then you have like Harvey's Marilyn Monroe, and like that's a little more welcoming. So.
Oh
yeah, he called in. He called us with that, and yeah, don't forget, guys at home, you can call in at 424-256-1729. I think a few people tweeted at us and said they wanted to call. We're in Studio A tonight.
Cool.
Be sure to tune in. So I want to read a YouTube comment. Last week, Lauren Riley, she tweeted, she's really glad that Casey wasn't cast as Ben, and she noticed she is not convinced he's the killer, but he has some shenanigans up his sleeve. She said something about a Tindy love affair shenanigan. Now,
which guy?
Lauren Riley, talking about Casey.
Casey.
No, we're talking about Casey. I don't want to confuse anyone. Yeah. We're talking about Casey, and I think there were a lot of shenanigans this episode that, you know, proved that maybe Tindy is not brewing like we thought it was.
Yeah.
Is there any insight on behind the scenes on how that's
like Tindy versus no Tindy, or Tindy versus Jindy?
Jindy. We have a lot of
I saw a little bit of Jindy.
I saw a lot of Jindy.
Episode 5.
Yeah.
I think Jake could. I'm like not eliminating him. Like I kind of thought maybe it wasn't Tommy this episode because he was in the ambulance, and anyone who wasn't in the club, like you couldn't
wasn't
go
a
in.
Suspect.
Exactly. You had to be in the club. No one could leave, and no one could go in. And Tommy and Sergeant Catherine Shaw, who I also was suspecting, was not in the club.
Yeah.
And we know that the killer was. So that definitely eliminates some players for us. And Jake just happens to always be around.
Well, I think that if he's interested in Lindy, which he clearly is, it doesn't surprise me that he would be around, especially when maybe he knows that Tommy's all up in her grill. So. I mean, I don't know. There's a little competition there. I think that to me that kind of explains why Jake would be around.
Now, with you and your boss Hamish, I thought it was interesting that both of you guys are writing under Insomniac. Mm-hmm. The only reason why I don't want to completely say that you're not the killer is because these articles are still going out. You have a relationship with Hamish. You may know some details we don't know. Mm-hmm. So,
are you suspecting Hamish then?
I definitely. I think it's. I've said before. I think it's multiple people, and Hamish is definitely a top-notch killer at this point. Like he's at the top of my list. But I mean, you never got any no intuition that said this guy's weird when you were working for him?
This is your character.
Yeah.
Why didn't you quit that job?
I quit my job. It's like, maybe we've had bosses that we aren't in love with, but you're not just like, I don't like you, I'm done.
But then you also go to his Krav Maga after work, so it's like, how much time do you really need to spend with this guy?
Well, that's a good point. I kind of got the sense that it was both we say Hamish. Hamish is him trying to get the whole staff to go to Krav Maga, but then there's also a personal interest for Connor, as is demonstrated in episode 5. We can see that it pays off in his Krav Maga.
Yeah, you punched a guy.
I did. Yeah, punch a guy then kiss a guy. It was right one after the
I
other.
Would kiss a guy if he punched someone
for money,
me.
though. Did you know what was going on behind the scenes?
No. I didn't get paid for punching that guy.
Oh, you did just punch him because you were like, hey, that's my date.
He punched his date, and he was like,
that would be awesome if I also got paid. I looked at my phone. I was like, Oliver, I protected you, but also made lots of money.
Yes.
So.
I was kind of suspecting that the guy who punched his date could have punched him because maybe it was the killer and he got too close and he was afraid Oliver would be like, I smell the killer, so maybe...
He doesn't even know that he smells his scent. He has no idea.
I love that idea, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That you can smell that he knows the scent of the killer. But now we're not really going to be able to use that because Oliver is kidnapped.
Correct. It was getting intense though for a couple scenes. It was like him walking around the club smelling stuff. It was. I can't imagine that in a club. I don't know. It seems like a hard thing to do, but he has an amazing sense of smell.
Obviously,
clearly.
I mean, there's beers everywhere. Yeah. Probably cut off fingers.
It's like, no, that's just a finger. I'm sorry.
Was there anybody else that you suspected around the club? Because what about that guy who asked Sophia if he could lick her shoe? He was creepy. So I'm like, could have been the killer. I feel like we're gonna get a glimpse of the killer in this episode. He was in the club, but maybe he wasn't spotlight on someone we've been suspecting, but it could be someone like that who was just had a creepy line somewhere.
It could be. I mean, we've definitely seen the killer. I don't know if we have seen his face. Now, to get into Bubonic a bit more, did anybody else think that he looked like Birdman's cousin or something with this out? I was just like,
what?
wait.
Birdman's cousin. Nice reference. I like that.
Birdman's cousin. Oh, with the whole bee thing?
Yeah.
I've definitely seen that mask played out before in some other creepy show. I cannot remember, but it's just a very creepy thing. It looks like a gas mask. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I love Bubonic. Was Bubonic the guy who was in Tommy's apartment in the beginning and was like, oh, when I got here, everything was already cleared out? That was him,
that was
right?
him.
Yeah.
But I guess Tommy had never met him face to face, so he used that. Yeah, he didn't recognize him at the time. But
Caught red-handed, but under your nose.
Not able to.
Whoa, I didn't even catch that. I'm sorry.
And that was Casey's dog in real life, right?
I'm not 100% sure. I think that actually might have been a dog we got that just happened to look exactly like Casey's dog.
Really?
I think you'll have to ask him.
He's gonna be so mad at you if you get this wrong.
I know, exactly.
Because he loves his dog.
He totally does.
I'm pretty sure that was his dog.
He had a husky.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the dog was a husky.
That was a...
Man, he did not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna say that it was.
It's a cooler story if it is. But if it, I just want to prepare you if it wasn't, that you do not. I want to let you down softly right now, just in case he's like, no,
in
that
case it wasn't his dog.
So what's the Cindy relationship? I know it's not a love affair, but we know in the beginning that you really don't care for Lindy.
Oh.
Has that changed at all by this time?
I think a little bit.
You kind of go to them this episode for help, so I feel like
Things
this kind of might be
shifting.
bringing you guys together again.
Well, and I also think that part of that is competition over Sophia, like my
Your best
issue.
friend.
Exactly. So I wonder if as the killer is more prominent and kind of the group gets more comfortable with each other, things like barriers are being broken down between us. I don't know if I would, call her my friend yet, but maybe we're on our way. Maybe we're on our way.
I mean, you guys have been in a couple, like, almost death type scenes. I would think that death would bring you together. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
do you want to talk about the game in the club and how how it's alarming what people will do for money, especially when they're drunk? Like, what's sad is when I was watching that, I was like, you know what? I feel like, unfortunately, in the generation that we live in, if this happened today at a club, I was trying to think about if this would really go through, if people would really do this, and especially if they were drunk, I feel like they might, because people do anything for money, and it's really sad.
Right. Well, it starts. It also shows maybe the genius of bubonic, because it does start with things that are theoretically you do.
That's true.
Could do.
Kiss your neighbor.
Yeah, it's like, that's okay, and then it does escalate. And it's such a bummer at the end of the episode when all the money goes.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, man. But there's like a guy who's like, I don't have a finger.
Yeah.
I'm really all man. Like, I'm really feeling that.
Sometimes your lessons come hard.
Girlfriend? How are you going to cut your boy? I mean, drunk or not, you can't love him that much. Like, honey, you got to take one for the team. Like,
it's like, I want a new
We're going to get married after this. Yeah. Maybe that was the price of the ring. You never know.
we don't know.
The price of love, Courtney.
No one's cutting my fingers. No one is. Not even the pinky. I don't even need it.
Did it specify? I'm forgetting if it specified who makes the money. Is it the person hopefully both of them.
You have to do the act, I think.
So the person whose finger comes off is just like, sorry, like.
No.
Yeah, someone was holding them down. Yeah, someone was holding him down. I mean, I'm sure he kind of knew what was coming.
Yeah, hopefully they both got.
So was it more so like who collects the most money, like, or does as many challenges, they get the full $1 million, or each person just gets their individual amount that's in the bank account?
Each person accrues their own amount.
Got it.
Yeah.
So no one's gonna get $1 million. That's where they went wrong, thinking someone's gonna leave with $1 million.
They should have looked around and be like, there's this many people in the club. Let's split that up.
It.
No
yeah,
way.
you're leaving with like 220,000.
Yeah.
I was like,
Started to. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, whenever they were like, if you don't want to play, leave, I thought they were going to evacuate the club.
Yeah, everyone would be like, all right, we don't want to play.
Yeah,
they didn't really know the game yet. Or it seemed like it was still in limbo.
And since it was a serial killer party and it was supposed to be we're not afraid, they probably felt like they had to stay. And the people there probably didn't know what was going on. Probably didn't know. Okay, this isn't part of the party.
Yeah.
This isn't planned.
And then it gets extra mysterious at the end when Hamish and Bubonic are like had a deal.
And see, that's why I'm thinking Bubonic may be a part of this team of killers. I mean, he has a reason to not like Tommy. He has a reason to be obsessed or like Lindy, and I think they're helping each other. I mean, at this point, we don't see Bubonic's face, but we see that they're working together. So it's obviously not just one person.
I don't know. I don't consider them to be the killer.
Really?
No. I consider
he has a hidden agenda, though.
Yeah, well, Bubonic, I feel like this was one of the procedural episodes like we saw last week with the bus story, and it's like I like that Bubonic's here. I'm hoping that he stays because he introduces an interesting element that like there's not just one cyber genius out there. There's somebody else who can actually compete and help us here, and maybe earn back Tommy's trust. But it seems like we get that backstory how like his girlfriend hung herself, and that's why he's targeting Tommy.
Yeah.
So, and there's something that Tommy's not telling Lindy.
And that's why I think that, like Lauren was saying, there's some shenanigans going on with Tommy. But let us know what you think on YouTube in the comments. Who do you think is a killer? Are there more than one killer? Let us know in the comments, and we will check that out later today. Okay.
I feel like with the with Hamish, I did suspect him early on because like it has to be someone who's strong and he teaches Krav Maga. But I also think that you have to be aware that like people who are writers and in the media and they just want hits on their site, so they're kind of like they're kind of those dark sort of mafia, like, I'll do whatever it takes to get a good story. Like, there are those news reporters, Nightcrawler, who will do anything, to make sure that their website or, secure their job and make sure they're, they'll do dirty work to get public attention. So I'm kind of going to eliminate him off my list.
Oh, what? I was following you until you said that. No way.
I'm taking him off my list. I think it's honestly been someone who's in the background. Who, like, there was a new cop introduced this episode. There was, like, Amy, the one girl cop, and then there was another Asian cop. I'm not sure of his name. Do you remember his name?
He was one of the undercovers in the club?
Yeah, there's, like, Amy, and then Yeager, and then there was another cop. And I'm like, I've always thought from the beginning that it could be someone that's in the crimes unit, cyber crimes unit, because these files have disappeared. We've seen in previous episodes. Yeah. Files have been tampered with. And so I thought it might be someone close to home, but I feel like it could be someone in the background that we're not necessarily paying attention to yet.
In the chat roll I asked them who they think the killer is, and Davina Incantatrix says, I don't actually know. It's so confusing, to be honest. And then Chelsea Collins agrees, which probably means it's someone totally else other than everyone.
We don't know.
Thanks, Stephen.
Exactly.
Everyone is
The twist is that there's no killer in the end. It's like no one died.
Right. We also have another tweet from Liz. It said, Connor, would you do the same thing and post about the killer?
Maybe. I think that I don't think that Connor writing that article is the worst thing. I know that people might disagree, but if there really is a killer, which
People
there really
need to know.
is, I think that people should know. And maybe a couple people got off Flirt Roll after that and protected themselves, which.
But you're still dating someone on Flirt Roll.
Well,
That's conflict of interest.
I know. Like, get off Flirt Roll, but I'm saying.
I'm gonna look.
Yeah. Would I do the same? Probably. I don't. Maybe I would write a different article. That's the thing, is we don't get to see the article that he wrote. Like, read
the
it.
headline.
It could be very sensational, or it could be well done.
And
So.
your boss is adding to it.
Right. Well, it seems like things get out of hand once he takes over. So.
I know reporters are very investigative, but I just want to know why he knows so much about Lindy. That's why it's kind of scaring me. He knows who she's dated in the past. Yeah, he knows who she's dated in the past and all of that. So I feel like there's more that we're going to find out later. But quick question from another fan. Jonathan Arthur says, what character would you rather play beside yourself?
Oh, that's a good one.
What character? Who knew that this was going to stump me?
You don't want to play anyone else.
I know. I was like, no, I found the perfect one. Maybe Catherine Shaw. Maybe the head of the police. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We weren't expecting that.
No, we weren't expecting that.
I was like, say Lindy. He likes Lindy. Okay.
No. Who? I could never do that.
But you could do Catherine.
but I can nail Catherine Shaw. No, I think that Melanie does such a nice job with that, and really makes that character, really takes that character to new levels in terms of how she plays it. So maybe when I watch the show, I'm always really inspired by her.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
So.
she does a good job.
She does a great job.
And it's kind of fun to be like the chief of police. I think that's
Order people around. You got a lot of power in that
yeah,
seat.
Exactly. And in that super teaser, that mid-season teaser.
I don't
I
want
saw
to be
that.
chief of police. It's dangerous. Yeah.
So crazy. That was awesome. I thought that our
The
teaser,
super tease was great.
The super teaser was so cool.
I guess we'll save part of that super team. But
For our predictions.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask how you felt about online dating. Maybe before this show. I mean, did you?
Yeah.
And I know this was like your first job after college, they said?
Yeah. I graduated in July from Carnegie Mellon, and then I.
Wow, I'm from Pittsburgh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was born in Pittsburgh.
Aww.
What?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh!
I'm out of the loop, but I love this.
Well, I was born in Pittsburgh and grew up in New Jersey. But yeah, both sides of my family are from Pittsburgh.
Awesome.
But yeah, I went to Carnegie Mellon and then graduated in May, and then moved out to LA in July. And then this was like my fourth or fifth audition. So
That's
Do you know
incredible.
that is a way quicker success story than a lot of people?
It was very cool. It was definitely very cool, and yeah, it was nice. It was very quick, and that is so exciting. I do anticipate times of slowness in my career, though. I'm not under any delusions about this, but it was definitely awesome.
And do you think that Carnegie prepared you for this? Is that why maybe it moved a little faster for you?
Maybe. I mean, I think that there are too many good actors everywhere. So I don't know. It's hard to say that because of my training is why I got this role. But once I was on set, I definitely felt prepared. Just in terms of the amount of work you had to do at Carnegie, they really kind of work you to the bone in a good way. Mm-hmm. So when I got on set, it wasn't something that was so unusual for me. Okay. But in terms of online dating.
I was so hoping you would bring that up.
I've kind of I've ebbed and flowed with online dating.
Your character's all about it.
Yeah, he's well, there's kind of a difference. That's one thing that's different between us. The last time I was on a dating app, I kind of felt like my soul was dying. So
me too.
Not that I don't.
You both have done the apps. Wait, which one? Tinder.
Tinder. Yeah.
I've done Tinder and OKC.
And I don't want to. And it has nothing to do. Nothing against Tinder or people that do. I have a lot of friends who have had such great success on Tinder. For some reason, I don't know. I was on it. I was like, I'll do some research. I was like, let me see what this is all about. I'd done it earlier, but then it got off. I was like, I'm back, and I was.
You needed to do it for your character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I needed to really sell it. I needed to be an expert. So I did it for 3 hours, and when I say 3 hours, I mean I literally didn't move for 3 hours and was only on Tinder. And I think that alone was like, I need to get out.
Your soul is.
I need to get out and about.
Yes.
Do it the old-fashioned way. So online dating isn't really my thing. But who knows? In a week, that could change.
So after, we don't know if Oliver's dead. We talked about that earlier. Mm-hmm. We definitely know he's kidnapped. I actually think that he's not dead, and we're gonna actually see his death, like we've seen a lot of others.
Right.
But
I like how he was kidnapped, though.
Yeah, it was just like Bubonic's. Didn't they say Bubonic's girlfriend was hung?
Yes.
So I was like,
That's a tie. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that.
Well, yeah, because at first I thought he was being hung, and then you realize he's being pulled up. Mm-hmm. Insane.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
There's a little bit of hanging going on, a little bit of kidnapping.
Yeah. But in
little gray areas.
The gray areas of death.
Just grace it. No, but if Oliver is killed, you don't really have that strong of a connection with him yet. Are you going to go back to Flirtable?
Too soon.
Too soon.
I don't know. I don't think Connor knows what the deal is with Oliver yet. So
yeah, you don't know that he's been kidnapped. Maybe he just found his phone and then left. But maybe we'll see you finding his phone next week.
Oh, that phone better be completely butchered. That iPhone, it planted on the ground.
We were watching it. Somebody was like, "We should tweet broken screen." Hope you have insurance.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh man. But it'll be interesting to see if Oliver's alive, how you react. I hope we see that in coming episodes. But can you just tell us, are you going to have anyone in coming episodes? If it's not Oliver, if it is Oliver, are you going to be having any romantic relationship with anyone?
Does myself count?
What?
I think Connor's a little in love with himself, so I think
that was great.
I'm not so. I like that Connor's a little bit of a lone wolf. So
yeah, that's why we kind of thought he could be the killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't. No, I can't say if there's more love.
If there's more love for Connor.
I can't tell you.
Well, it seemed like you had not had success on the app up until now, because you were like, finally, I have a date with a hot guy. Right. It's going so well, and then this happens. Yeah. So it seems like...
Can I really just say quickly, in my notes when I was watching the show before we saw what happened to Oliver, I put,
this guy's
they don't know what he looks like. Connor kissing the killer. I could have sworn that Oliver had, until he said he was smelling the killer, I was like, this guy's definitely it. He's dating the killer.
Right,
I don't know. I just had a moment. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's definitely that's interesting.
I want to talk about Jake, though, still being the killer, because when he was hooked up to the bomb, like, he was hit in the head by bubonic, so that doesn't eliminate him from being the killer.
Oh, no. And there have been so many times where he's been saved by an excuse, so you definitely have to watch him a little bit closer.
And what was he just having? He was just at the club. It seems like, in my opinion, he's obsessively stalking her. Stalking Lindy, yeah. And then even in the end, when he says, you want to make $250, like, she just told him she was in love with a cop who died and that she just wanted to be friends. And he's not respecting that. He's not a respectful guy. He's crossing boundaries. I'm not going to say I didn't like the kiss.
I didn't. I think a lot of people.
I think the paramedics were like, sir, like, we need to help you, and they're like making out, so that must have been a challenge for the ambulance people.
And then Tommy's in the background, right in between their faces.
There were a lot of Tindy props.
Tindy props.
Tindy cried a single tear.
Trouble in Tindy paradise.
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, you deserve it at this point. You're lying to her, and it's just like how after Bubonic told that whole spiel about his girlfriend being kidnapped, it's almost like I'm trying to question both, but it's like you're holding back from her. So how are you tied to this? Is Bubonic really lying to us? Did this actually happen? Do you know? I mean, we know he knows, like, the sister's still alive, but is there something else that he's hiding from us?
That Tommy knows?
Tommy's hiding from us, yeah.
I think so. I mean, I did watch that upcoming preview, and it seemed like there is a lot of trouble coming for Tindy.
Yeah.
And it seems like things are revealed that he knows, and she feels used. So.
And with the Jake romance, I mean, do you think that Lindy is still kind of using him for, I don't know, for comfort? Is she actually feeling Jake? I mean, they had a whole moment in a boiling room where they're about to, like, die. Doesn't that bring people together?
I mean, he's obviously thankful and kisses her after, like, you know, she saves his life. But I still think I'm not taking him off, because he was the one who showed up at her door. Like, who does that? And when someone hasn't given you an address, shows up at the door.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're starting to like him as the audience. Some people are, and they're starting to write him off as, okay, this guy's not the killer because we've already arrested him, and he's not, and he checks out and everything. So I'm still keeping him on that he could be, because I think it's crazy how obsessed that he is, and he always lingers around. He keeps coming back around, and I think...
I mean, but now if he is the killer has kissed Lindy. I can't wait to hear what the voiceovers are like next episode. If he says anything like,
that was
your
great.
lips, your breath, your taste, like, if he says anything that alludes to that, I'm gonna be, all right, it's Jake. Every week.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've talked about this before, how they're definitely using some sort of electronic filter, probably mask on, like, their voice, so that it could be a female still, it could be someone that we've heard talking, but because they're using this sort of, like, filtered voice, we wouldn't recognize it.
Yeah.
Right? So who knows?
It's probably a good idea to keep everyone still on that could be list, I would say.
I guess so. I know you said you tried Tinder as preparing for your role, but did you do anything else? Like, I know Harvey and Victoria said they took a cyber class together, like a hacking or coding class together.
Yeah,
prepared. Already prepared so much better than I did.
And Tommy said he had a cop friend that he was constantly calling.
I didn't have, like, a Tinder expert to talk to. I don't know what the equivalent is. It's like, there's this guy, he's really good at online dating. Go talk to him.
Maybe a blogger or writer. You're a writer.
I do write. John Garet, do write.
I love the John Garet.
Yeah. It's the title of my autobiography. I, John Garet. Do write in parentheses.
I love it.
I mean, I had friends who had been on Tinder, and yeah, I don't know. There was there was preparation, certainly. I mean, of course I prepared, but I wouldn't say I got so savvy with online dating. I mean, what is it? It's like you either swipe one way or another. I don't know.
There's a lot to learn.
Yeah. I'm not willing to learn.
Gotta be careful. I mean, if you swipe too fast, you lose them forever. Like, they're gone. That's always been my problem. Do we want to get into more of an interview with him?
Of course. We want to know more about John Garet, who doesn't want to use his last name.
Right.
Oh, really?
Like Stoker? Well, that's just not part of... My first name is John Garet.
Okay.
Yeah, which I thought was so cool.
Yeah.
I love names like that. Like Mary Kate. I mean, we don't like Mary Kate. Anyways.
Billy Bob, Catherine Zeta.
John Garet. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what specifically from your childhood would you say contributed to you wanting to become an actor?
From an early age, I went to a Waldorf school. I don't know if you've heard. It's a type of schooling. It's kind of alternative, more art-centric. And each year, from first grade to eighth, you do a play. So I'd done plays. They weren't Shakespeare necessarily, but you did some sort of performance. And then I had an older sister who was also into acting. So I kind of doing plays, seeing my sister do plays, going to theater around Princeton in New Jersey. They just seemed like the actors were always having the most fun in general, at least on stage. Little did I know.
The long hours on stage.
Yeah, exactly. But I would say, I know from, I was in like 6th grade, and I think I saw PBS special on Juilliard, maybe, and I was like, I'm gonna go there. And then I looked at the statistics. I was like, I'm not gonna go there.
That's hilarious.
I was like, it's not gonna happen. But
what's like a future acting role that you want to play?
I was gonna say that.
Especially after playing Connor and being exposed to the business right now, I think that I'm kind of excited about any role. I would say I think that there's always opportunities to kind of work with something and make it interesting. I don't know of any roles. I know there are directors who I really admire. So
Any that you want to name?
I don't want to jinx it. It's it's like that feeling. Is like, do I say it?
Okay.
I know. I like. Okay. I can totally say it. I mean, I like.
I don't believe in bad luck.
Good.
It's from the episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't either. Paul Thomas Anderson does some really cool, things. He always, I think, creates spaces for awesome performances. So he's a director. Obviously, Christopher Nolan does some awesome films as well. So I think there are people I'd want to work with, and even within that, it's very broad. It's hard to say. There's no one I don't want to work with. It's not like I haven't been chafed enough to be like, no, I don't want to be acting with that person.
No, that's good.
A good thing. That's good.
So was there anyone that you looked up to growing up as far as in the acting world?
Not particularly. I mean, I would say teachers, and I think a lot of my peers when I was at Carnegie Mellon, you find. I think it's important to find things in every performance and in every actor that you see they're doing right or that really resonates with you. So there wasn't any one person. At this point, there are a lot of actors and actresses. Is that taboo? I never know now. Can you say it?
Yeah, you can say actresses, but they all can be generally called actors
now.
Well,
there are many actors,
apparently.
male and female, who I admire.
We're covering all our bases.
Sam Rockwell does some really cool things. James McAvoy. The list goes on. So I draw inspiration from many performers and many artists.
What other skills do you have? Do you play music, or are you good at sports?
I play piano a bit.
Oh, okay.
I do some like improvisational things. I have this voice in my head that someone who knows me would be like, he plays the same thing over and over again. So you'll never know. I'll never show you, but pretty much like I do my own little jazz blues piano thing. I
wish we had a piano for you to play for us.
Yeah. I brought one.
Imagine. Let's go.
That's hilarious.
I did. I was really into baseball. I did varsity baseball in high school. But then it kind of my interest kind of waned as acting became more of a thing for me. So
what was your position, if you don't mind me asking? I was shortstop for softball.
Oh, really? Cool. When I was younger, I played all the positions. That's what happens.
Yes.
Like you're left field, you're doing this. I was kind of focused on pitching.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Are you lefty or righty?
I bat lefty, but I throw righty.
We're asking this because we know what handed the killer.
You pull up a screen grab and you're like, it's you. Sorry.
It's obviously your hand.
We apologize, but we found you.
Can you talk about your memories on set and maybe one of your favorite memories on set?
Yeah, set was awesome. I'm sure Casey and Harvey and Vic and Christian have said that.
Yeah.
We
So
really
far,
had a
we've
good-
talked about Sophia getting arrested or almost getting arrested.
Not really arrested.
Or not really.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Did you get in trouble?
No, wait. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing,
We
so I
are.
don't reveal anything. You're like
Why
saying
don't you
that
tell us about what
on
you were
set?
talking
Because
about?
that wasn't on set.
No, not on set. That wasn't on set.
Okay. Yeah, no. Me and Harvey played it cool. We were not. Whether you could say we weren't brave or we were just being safe and professional. We weren't in danger of getting a ticket. It was more what it was.
That's good.
That was pretty wild though.
Is there another set memory that was funny or sad, or since this was creepy?
Yeah. So one of my favorite scenes that we shot was the bathroom scene in episode 2, when Jake's over and we're all in the bathroom talking, and so Vic and Kiersey go in first, and they're like super stressed, and but I was waiting right outside the hallway to go in right like on my cue, and so they would say rolling, and I would just be waiting, but Vic and Kiersey would get ready, and Kiersey would do this face, her like worried face. You have to ask her about it. It's like both the cutest and funniest thing ever, but her prep, it's like I can't really do it. They'd be like rolling, and she'd go. She would like press her next to them and just kind of like bounce. So many of those takes started with me cracking up right behind the door, and her just like stressed. And one time I called her on it, and she's like, I'm worried. Like there could be the killer in there. So it was really her being an awesome actor and in character. But that always cracked me up. Right before I had to come in and be like, what's going on?
Right.
Really, I was just laughing very hard.
Is there something you do to get into character?
You should actually ask Kiersey, because there was a point when I don't know what it was. I was getting a note or something. They're like, pick it up, or I forget what the circumstances were. But Kiersey was like, do the Connor thing, and I was like, what? And she's like, you do this thing, and I was like, what are you talking about? No, I'm completely unique every time I start. So allegedly, according to Kiersey, I do have like a
mannerism with the neck.
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of having played Connor and looking at him, I kind of equate him to a combination of Kevin Spacey and Keira Knightley. If you can do that in your head, I don't know if it comes off, but they both. So in many of their roles, so even like Kevin Spacey in House of Cards, and Keira Knightley in like any of her awesome roles, they both are like a little indignant. They know what's going on with a little bit of sass. They have that type of energy. So
I see that in your character. Yeah.
However, I like mash those together before we start shooting. So it's like.
Well, you have your thing.
Yeah. I can't reveal it.
Yes. Well, let's go ahead and get into a quick prediction before we go.
What do you think?
Your AfterBuzz TV.
This is it comes on and gives us the powers to predict the future. Did you get anything?
Did I? Oh yeah, I feel it.
You feel it?
Yeah.
This is your time to play Ruth, the psychic.
Oh yeah, exactly. She was a good actor.
We need to have her on so she can
was awesome.
give us predictions.
You guys are gonna predict though. I don't have to predict.
You have to predict.
Yeah, you have to.
I have to predict. I know it. I know the future.
I know you know it.
We're just putting you on the spot.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead and tell them a little bit about the Super Teats and what you thought about it.
All right. Well, obviously we see Tindy sort of kissing Tommy and then breaking up with Tommy and being like, okay, you didn't tell me this, and whatever this was, it's over. So they obviously weren't putting a title on their relationship in the future, but whatever it was, it's gonna also be gone in the future. So don't get too excited, guys.
Flashback.
And then we see her sister on this sort of odd
It looks like a
prostitution
Yeah,
website.
it looked like she's in a sex trade.
And she can be bought, yeah. So it's like maybe she's alive, but she's stuck in this underground sex trafficking
Or that's just
thing.
her Flirtual profile that she's rebooted. She's like, it's a good look for me.
I thought that, but someone's definitely controlling her Flirtual app.
That's my prediction, that her sister has a new look.
Well, after last week, we also kind of said that it even could be Sarah because she went to that rehab, and we thought maybe she could be pulling something on her sister, and Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I hope you guys tweet us and tell us who you think is the killer, because I'm still trying to find him.
All right.
I'm on the hunt.
Well, we have run out of time, unfortunately, for all of our predictions. But you guys can stay in touch with us using the hashtag ABTVEyeCandy. We read your comments tonight, and we're going to read them next week. Also, you guys can find me at Teznos on Twitter and Instagram. I love when you guys comment and give me your opinion. You're so great. And where can everybody find you, Kristen?
I am at Cinematic Escape on Twitter, and you can check out my blog, cinematicescape.com. And where can we find you?
My Instagram is at. Do Instagrams even have at?
Yeah.
Okay, at John Garet, JohnGaret, as is my Twitter.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. This was a blast.
Of course, I appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.